This is a Series 2 white VX SS, and this is my favorite model of SS. If you're not familiar with what an SS is, it is the sportiest version of the Commodore, excluding all the HSVs. We're only talking Holden here. It is the performance version. So the first SS that was ever made came out in the early 80s, the VHSS, and they ran them all the way through to 2017. But this shape is my favorite, and not just the shape, the way that it goes, the way that it looks, everything, the weight, the whole, everything. Anyway, this one is from 2002. Now the main product Commodore range, you could get Executive, Bellina, Calais, S and SS. Now the S does look the same as this one with a few little minor exceptions. And one way that you can always tell that it's an SS if it hasn't been changed are these black headlights. They look fantastic. And also the fog lights here that say SS. Now the S-Pack version, they're just clear and usually just has inserts in the bar, but it does still have the same body kit and everything that this car has. They all came standard with these wheels. These are the original wheels off the car, and I also love this awesome Gen 3 V8 badging. I really like that badging, and obviously that is referring to what's under here, the Gen 3 V8 LS1. You could get an LS1 in the previous model, the VT, which looks, quite similar to this car, but only in the Series 2s, and they did have a few issues because it was the very first of the LS1, and they also had the Holden 5 litre. But by the VX, this car, they had really sorted that out, and these cars have been popular ever since. It was also the first Commodore to feature this badging on the doors. Now, the other Commodores did have it, but it was always stickers. So this is the first one that had real badging. This one has been affected by what a lot of these cars have. Their chrome has started to sort of flake off. But again, this is an old car. This is not a new one. Now, usually over in the back garnish here, there is some SS signage, but not this car. And that is not because it has been debadged. Well, there's a reason this doesn't have it. That is because this car is an ex-police car, and this car is an ex-Australian Federal Police car from New South Wales, and the SS interfered with some of their badging. I don't know what it is about the VXSS, but for me it is one of the best styled cars that Holden ever did. I absolutely love it, and I do think that these cars will be future classics. I actually prefer these than the HSV equivalents. The SS for me is perfect. I love it, and I actually had a Ute version of this back many years ago, and driving this really makes me think of this car. Now you could get the VXSS in an automatic or a manual. This one is an automatic. I have driven both, and I will be honest, I do prefer the manual. It is a very fun, very fast car, for what this is a family sedan, and it's such a cool car. I really would love the VXSS again. And this hasn't helped that. But like I said before, this car is an ex-police car, so it does have a few little things that a normal SS doesn't have, and let's go through that. So the very first thing is that it doesn't have traction control. No factory traction control, the button is just gone. That is pretty unusual for a car that was available to the public with an LS1. The second thing is this car has more increments in the speedometer than a normal VT VX. And I guess that's so that the police can, track their speed more clearly. And the other thing this one has is a digital speedo. And yes, I know that you can make these cars have a digital speedo, but this one is always like that. Some of them also have a little button here that can, turn the dome light on. This car doesn't have that. And my understanding is that because this hasn't been a pursuit vehicle, it hasn't had a hard life like a lot of the ex-police cars have. And one of the reasons you can tell this is the bolsters in the seat, because my understanding is because this has been more of an escort car or, a parade car or similar to that, it hasn't had the wear that a lot of these police cars have, because that is one of the criticisms that always comes about when showing off police cars on this channel, and they've had a hard life, and I'm sure there is some truth to that for sure, because let's be honest, if you got given an LS1 as a work car, you'd probably flog it. Forgetting the police thing though, in terms of what is different in here versus a normal VX Commodore, well, they've got this awesome silver sort of surround rather than the wood grain or the black plain plastic, and they've got this sporty steering wheel. Obviously this one is a little bit worn, it always wears. They've got this leather wrapped sporty steering wheel. That's pretty much it. Some of the manuals have color coded stitching. In the later model SSs, the VY, VZ, there were a few more changes, but in the VX there really wasn't that many, honestly. Now, I even remember when I was a P-plater, these cars were worth really not that much money, $3,000 or $4,000. And they were always bought because of this, for conversions, manual conversions and LS conversions and all of that. So many of these have been bought, parted out, or bought as skid cars and stuff like that. So Yeah, I really like the VXSS. Again, that whole front end, just everything looks fantastic. And they all have this sort of turtle shell engine cover. Again, 220 kilowatts, doesn't sound crazy by today's standards, but this was back, 22 years ago. This was pretty big, and this was a big step up from the Holden 5 litre in terms of kilowatts. Enough talking though, let's take it for a drive, because that is by far the best bit. Yeah, and we're already doing 100. It's really probably fun to drive this car. It goes good, it sounds even better. It really does drive really nicely. It's planted, it's solid. It's just a great car. As I've said a billion times in this video, and the POV driving one that I had, they drive unreal. They're so much fun. They're so well balanced, and especially, I know this one's not it, but especially in the 6-speed manual, these are fantastic cars and I adore them. Again, comparing this to the Holden 5 litre. The Holden 5 litre doesn't do too badly, I reckon, off the line, but, and I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but 70 and up is where this thing gets properly impressive. It's like it's starting from zero again. 70 to 100 is nothing, and that is what I love about this. The big question though that you have to ask yourself if you want to drive one of these, especially as a daily driver, is how long is it going to be before you lose your license? Again, I absolutely adore this series of Commodore. I love it. It symbolizes an era that is completely gone. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Holden 5. This is one of the first SSs that was, properly quick compared to a normal car. This is a totally standard car. It's a family car with the running gear of a Corvette. I do think that these are going to become collectible, especially if you have one in a desirable color. The gold is the one that comes to mind immediately, and especially if you have one in the 6-speed manual. Or they are a little bit different, like this is the ex-Australian Federal Police car. So yeah, I love these cars and I love what they stand for. If these are your kind of cars, or you would like to have your own car on the channel, please follow along, subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'm going to make it my mission to do every SS that Holden ever made, and I'm lucky enough that I've already got the earlier ones pretty well sorted. So if you've got a newer one, please feel free to get in touch. We've already done the VL Walkinshaw. I know it was a Group A SS, but still counts. I'd love to get a VN and a VP, but I think I've also got those lined up. But if you have an Atlas Grey VN, I would definitely be interested. I'm still looking for VR, VS, and VT. I've done VE, but I would probably do another one, honestly, and VF as well. If that sounds like your kind of thing, or you'd like your car on the channel, please follow along, subscribe, and thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it.